Well, good morning. Trucker Todd here, and time for another video. All right, folks. Wednesday is normally the day that we do our 60-second rant video. It's where I get 60 seconds to gripe about whatever I want to gripe about. But because I didn't do videos at all last week, we're behind. We need to catch up. And today I'm going to actually cover two subjects that would have normally been two different videos, all in one video. So today's your 2-for-1 special. Of course, it's coming to an end. It's winding down, and it's winding down in a bad way. Of course, I'm talking about the Canadian truck driver convoy protest. I'm going to give you my thoughts on that, and I'm going to talk about my thoughts on if they should have one here in the United States. I know a couple of groups are talking about possibly driving up to Washington, D.C. Do I think that's necessary at this point? We'll jump into that and see. And then on the flip side, after that, we're going to talk about a really big deal in the reefer world. Reefer, for those that don't know, is refrigerated trailers. Of course, I'm talking about Hirschbach buying John Christner, JCT. It's a pretty big deal. It's going to have implications for all of the reefer business and maybe even all of trucking. We sure need to talk about it. It happened about a week ago. I was kind of debating with myself if I wanted to talk about it or not, but I think we really need to, because I get a lot of questions, especially about Hirschbach, and so we'll talk about that in this video too. Before we jump in, you guys give me a thumbs up, share this video on your social media platforms, make sure you're subscribed, leave a comment below, look in the description below this video. There's a lot of great information there, even my email's there. You can find out how to join me on Instagram. Follow me there, I'd really appreciate it. And my Facebook is there as well. Also, we have a new Trucker Todd hotline, so if you guys need to call me, when you email me, I'll get you that phone number and we'll talk on the phone as well. All right, folks, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right in. Here we go.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down, flying by these road signs with home on my mind, with these wheels turning round. For my family and for my kids, for this life I wanna live. And this is why I do this.
Alrighty, we're back. You know, just a quick Google search will bring up all kinds of stuff. There's a trucker that says he was beaten by the Canadian police. The Canadian lawmakers are extending Emergency Powers Act for truck protest. There's just a lot going on. Here's an opinion piece where they're saying that America's trucker convoy could become the next Tea Party. We're going to talk about that. And Canada froze a lot of those truck drivers' accounts that were tied to the protest. And so there's a lot going on there that we need to talk about. First of all, I want to say this. You know, they proved me wrong on one thing for sure. I've always said there were, you know, for as long as I've been driving, we've been saying, trucker strike, trucker strike. And I've always said it's never going to happen because you can't get 3 truck drivers to agree on anything for more than about 10 minutes. And then they're arguing with themselves. However, I will say this about the Canadian protesters. They were protesting having to be vaccinated to go across the border into the United States. And that's a complicated deal. I'm not going to debate that here. Each country is sovereign and they have their own right to make their own rules about who can come in and out of their country. I don't have a problem with that. But I do want to say this about the Canadian trucker protesters. I love the way that they did it non-violently. They weren't tearing up businesses. They weren't leaving trash everywhere. It was a very festive event. They had activities for the kids there. It was ran very well. And I think as a whole, they represented truck drivers very well. Now, since that time, several hundred of them, a little over 300 of them have been arrested, and it's starting to go down now. There's a lot of politics involved up there, and you guys know once politics start getting involved, then things tend to degrade very fast. Sorry. So hopefully that'll get resolved. But I like the way they handled themselves. They did it in about the best way you could protest peacefully. And I think it's a fine example of how we should protest in this country if there's something we disagree with. Hey, there's no need to be violent, attack businesses, tear stuff up. Get out there with your signs, say what you got to say. If I did have to be critical of one thing they did, it's that they blocked traffic, and I think that was their downfall. Don't block traffic. You guys might remember in Minnesota when they were having all the protests, people were blocking the interstates. A couple of people got ran over. Don't block the freeways. Don't prevent other people from going to work. Stand on the sidewalks. Protest peacefully. That's what I've got to say about that. So now, let's move on to the Hirschbach John Christner buyout. So, Hirschbach, we all know who they are. They've got a ton of trucks. Both of these companies have a few things in common. They both cheap freight. They pay their independent contractors around $1.05 a mile. I wouldn't recommend going to either one of them at this point. There was a time a few years ago when John Christner had a very good reputation, and of course, who knows what'll become of them now that they've been bought out. But this is going to have, I think Hirschbach has around 3,000 trucks. Christner's not quite that big, but when you combine them, you're going to have close to 4,000 trucks, maybe a little over 4,000 trucks. And that's going to have an effect on the reefer business. That's going to make them a major player. John Christner has a logistics arm, and I really believe that was what interested Hirschbach in them. Hirschbach has plenty of equipment, so I don't think they were doing it to get John Christner's trucks per se, or even their drivers, as much as they wanted to get access to their logistics. Now, this is in the short term probably going to benefit both companies. Maybe not the drivers, but both companies are going to benefit from this. And I'm not a real big fan of these type of mergers. Typically, there's a lot of job loss, especially in the office, because you can consolidate a lot of things, and the companies will do that to save money. Also, there's a lot of turnover among drivers. A lot of drivers don't like change, and good or bad, when the change comes, a lot of drivers will leave. Incidentally, while we're talking about that, if you're looking for a place to work, you guys know I love it at Dart. Look down in the description below. There's a link where you can apply and get you a really good job with really great people. I'm half-heartedly joking there. I didn't make this video as a recruitment effort, but there will be some turnover, and if you want to get away from that loud reefer and just pull a dry van, give Dart a call. Tell them you've been watching Trucker Todd, and they'll get you fixed up with all kinds of stuff. They got company driver jobs. They got dedicated driver jobs. They got lease purchase. They got a little bit of everything. So you guys use that link below and apply, and she'll get back with you and match you up with the perfect job opportunity that you've been looking for. So anyway, I was a little shocked to see it. John Christner's been around for, my auto start stops working, it's finally going to crank. John Christner's been around for 100 years, and I don't mean that literally, but they've been around a long time. Mr. Christner himself was still involved with the company, and so I was real surprised to see him choose to sell out. I guess he's made enough money and he wants to move on to greener pastures. But anyway, I had to cut into that video because I also want to talk about what's going on here in the United States. So, there's a couple of groups that are wanting to have a trucker convoy to Washington, D.C., basically mirroring what happened in Canada. They're wanting to protest trucker mandates, things like that. The problem is, I think it's too late. We've already been to the Supreme Court. They're not going to mandate masks for truck drivers. At this point, it seems like you're protesting nothing. It's much ado about nothing. But, you know, more than that, I'm thinking about all these snowstorms and stuff we've had lately. And guys are complaining about having to shut down 24 hours, 48 hours. They're not going to go to Washington and sit there for a week, first of all. Secondly, it's going to be all owner-operators. Company drivers aren't going to be permitted by their companies, in my opinion, I might be wrong, to go protest and sit for a week or 2 weeks or however long it lasts, even 3 or 4 days. These trucking companies are going to want to make money. Lease purchase guys, let's be honest. Most of them aren't making enough money where they could afford to do it. I could afford to go up there for a couple of weeks, but at this point, what are we really protesting? It's already been decided by the Supreme Court. It doesn't really matter what your opinion is about it now. It's resolved. If you don't like the outcome, the next step would be to talk to your legislative branches and for them to change laws. So things are what they are, and I just don't see it happening. And especially now with gas prices shooting up while they are like they are, I just don't think that your average Joe six-pack trucker can afford to be off doing that right now. But now let's jump back into what I was saying before I interrupted myself. That's just my quick take on those two things. You guys join me on Friday. We're going to talk about some ways you can save fuel out here. Things are crazy right now. I just saw a news report this morning that the top 481 cities in America for property values, the houses are averaging over $1 million. And I'm in California right now. Gas prices out here are well over $5 a gallon. With the crud that's going on in Russia right now and in Ukraine, there's going to be a lot more crud going on. I expect gas prices to possibly go up another $2 or $3 a gallon, maybe more. You guys know diesel's even higher than gas. So at a time like this, we need to find ways to save money. And I'm just going to give you a few fuel saving tips on how you can do that for the Friday video. And then on Monday, we're going to talk about speed limiters, governors. Should your truck be governed at all? What's a reasonable speed to govern your truck at? You guys can leave me comments below what you think, and on Monday I'll tell you what I think. All right, folks, you guys have a great remaining rest of your week, and we'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.